What supposedly started it?
What started the war?
Not yeah.
Russia's invading Ukraine.
Now, some people say that, but there's others that say that because they're UN and they've been the most corrupt country in the world,
video,
blah, blah,
Jamie.
blah.
That's the video. Don't show me that again.
And then the U.S. with the biological weapons, and Russia kept saying, hey, man, you're getting closer and closer with your shit. We keep telling you, please don't do this. Now, I don't know what's a fact and what's not, but there is that side of people saying that.
Well, both are true. So both things are true. So one thing that's true is that what they have been doing is moving arms closer. NATO's been moving arms closer to Russia, right?
So it's like me coming to you and I say, Joe, and you go, Brewer, don't fucking come another step.
Where did NATO move arms
your shit
closer to Russia where it was a real issue? So there's been a lot of.
But what about the biological weapons? What
I was going to say is there's been a lot of discussion about doing this from the beginning. There was a guy who was on the Colbert Show in it was the early 2000 teens, and he had a book, and he was describing in this book how Ukraine is essentially Robin and Russia is Batman, and about we want to lure Robin away from Batman, and we want to get Robin to join NATO, and we want to get Robin to join our side. And this guy's explaining this on television in a book, this plan that they had. So in trying to get further and further control close to Ukraine, Russia felt like that was an attack on them. That was provoking them. They felt like it would be how we would feel if China started putting nuclear missiles in Cuba. We have a new Cuban Missile Crisis.
Or in Canada.
Or in Canada. Very similar.
How would we react?
So both those things are true. And then Russia really did invade Ukraine, and this is horrific, and they're shooting missiles into apartment buildings, and all that stuff's true too. So there's both sides that are true. It's like it seems like there were some strategic things that were being done that Russia felt was very threatening. Do we know what they did, what NATO did in terms of moving arms closer to Russia?
What about the bioweapons that supposedly America had there, and they tried to say no, and then when it was brought up, they openly admitted, yes, we have biological weapons in Ukraine.
Do they call it biological weapons, or do they call it? What do they call it?
I don't know. It was biological, whatever.
Right, some biolab.
Some biolab, whatever.
Yeah, that's what everybody wonders. When you talk about biolabs, how much of that is how much of this is military applications?
Right.
How much of this stuff is it 0%? I don't think it's 0%. I'm sure they must work on some things because I know that other countries work on things. I interviewed a guy back in the day who worked for the Soviet Union, and he had defected, and it was for this sci-fi show, and he was explaining to me how they have giant supplies of anthrax. And their biological weapons program was very robust. They have a real biological weapons program filled with shit that could kill everybody.
But my issue is
there was something about that.
Yeah.
According to what I've
the New York Times says it's unfounded. Let's just move away.
Let's
just move on to the next subject.
So, but that's what I'm saying. If they lied to you, you caught them lying. Why do we believe anything we're seeing?
Yeah, but do we know, though?
That's what I'm saying.
But the problem is we don't know either. It's like weapons of mass destruction, right, in Iraq.
Right.
In the beginning, everybody thought that was what was really going on, and that we were going in there to stop this from happening because we realized, this guy is funding terrorism, and he's got weapons of mass destruction. He's going to kill us all. But it turns out to not be true at all.
Yeah,
right?
but the people that pushed that narrative knew it wasn't true.
Yeah, well,
and they funded it very well, and a lot of people got murdered, innocent people that still come back with no legs. They don't get funded, and they're watching, Trans Guy of the Year, and they're special, and their legs got blown off for a cause, and they're sitting there in a fucking van that drives them around electrical. Yeah. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked up.
It's
and
fucked
I know,
up that
I know,
no
like,
one's held accountable for that. That's
no
what's
one's
crazy.
held accountable. So why am I going to believe everything they're telling me about Russia and Ukraine? And why even? This is what drives me nuts about humanity's better. You're a fucking leader. There's so many leaders that are just regular people now. Why do you need government or your officials telling you where you're going to fight? If someone came in here right now and they said, Joe, you need to come across the street and fight, you just going to go fight? No, you're going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. The fuck am I doing? You don't worry about what we're doing. We're going to tell you what to do. Haven't they failed enough with lying and getting us into these positions? If regular people talk to one, I guarantee if you did a fucking podcast with real humans in Russia, real humans in Ukraine, real humans everywhere, the people in control get scared real fucking quick because they'll see we all have a deeper connection. We want to be with one another.
Yeah, we're not in dispute. The leaders are in dispute, and they drag the people into it. And
Why?
They're playing some geo chess game, what they've always done.
Why are our lives at
What
stake?
is the NATO thing? We need to discuss that. What did they do? What are they being accused of doing? It's like, because I don't want to make a false statement.
I mean, I don't exactly,
But either way,
I don't know where I'm going to find
NATO
that
inches
information,
closer to
but-
Russia's border. Okay, so what have they done here? I just want to know that we're being accurate, because this is not my field
and
of
I have no
expertise.
clue. I don't
know
want to
how to be
close
No, but-
all avenues that I've heard.
But I do believe that there was NATO. Okay, here it was. Putin's goal of preventing NATO expansion essentially backfired when Finland and Sweden were motivated by the invasion of Ukraine to apply to join the military bloc. Currently, 5 NATO members. Okay, so NATO already border Russia or the Russian border. Norway, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and Poland already border Russia or the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad. Meanwhile, Finland shares an 830-mile border with Russia, so Russia's border with NATO would more than double if Finland attains membership of the alliance. So Finland was joining NATO as well. So more of these people were joining NATO, and they were, what were they doing in terms of like having arms? Russia implements border control of traffic moving from Russia into Finland, thus preventing attempts at illegal entry. If Russia reduces its border control, this may cause additional pressure at the Finnish end to control illegal entry. So they're trying to stop people from escaping. Finland cannot rely on the effectiveness of Russian border control. So people just were streaming into Finland, I bet.
yeah.
And Poland, right?
Well, then, when this happened, then too, a lot of people left Ukraine and they banned all men from leaving because they had to stay and fight.
Is NATO, were they saying that NATO had arms that they were moving closer to the Russian border as well? Like when someone joins NATO? Or is it just that since that army is now in NATO?